Well, yeah, just with Taiwan, I know he's been going through some hamstring stuff. He's been kind of in and out. I guess what's that been like, kind of progressing him through camp and dealing with that stuff?
Well, first off, it's nothing major, nothing serious. We're just being smart about getting him back and doing it deliberately, not rushing it. He is a professional at this point in what he does, so he's very locked in. If you're out there and you notice, he's standing back behind the defense, so that he can actually get a kind of a bird's eye view of it from a backer's perspective. So he can see the things. He's looking at the call. He's getting the fits. He's talking to guys on the sideline. So he's certainly getting those reps. Albeit not physically, mentally. And he was back in there a little bit today.
And we heard from Coach Blackwell just now that you guys have been impressed with JB Brown, but that he's been taking some time to get acclimated to the system and all that. So what's that been like from your perspective?
Well, it's camp, right? So in camp, you just keep going forward, and it's just more, until you can really start to scale back. So, but he's doing a phenomenal job. He was here in the spring, so there's not a ton that's brand new for him. Now it's a little bit more refresher, if that makes sense. So he's doing a really good job. He's going to play a lot of football for us, and he's a really good addition. I'm glad he's here.
If Rich isn't the one out there making sure things are running smoothly, is that JB? Is it someone else who's that guy that you're looking at?
Right now, I'm saying probably a combination of Taiwan, Berryhill, who can slide in. Again, he started transitioning to some of that in the spring, as well as maybe Cornell Wheeler is doing a really good job too. He stepped up his game quite a bit. It's getting good as their coach, because I feel comfortable with a number of guys. Sometimes you throw a guy in there and you're like, you're not always sure. There's a few guys now that I feel pretty good about, being in there if they get called to duty. So.
And I know we talked about Craig Young's versatility a lot in the past. Are you adding things to his plate over the course of the fall, or are you just saying, hey, this is what you're able to do, let's do that as well as you can?
Yeah, no, he's going to take another step in terms of some of the things that he can do and that we ask him to do. He's doing that right now, and he's embracing it. He's doing a really good job, and will continue to do so. But this is year 2 for him, right? And it's also his senior year, so that's kind of a sweet spot combination where he's really owning things and wanting things to go well. Not that he didn't a year ago, but now he's, this is the last time to ride the lightning, so he's gonna do everything he can, and anything we ask him to do, he'll do.
You mentioned Cornell Wheeler there. Obviously, he was here in 2021 with you guys, but can you walk us through kind of his progression over the last 2-3 years?
Mm-hmm. I would say, quite honestly, he's a rep guy, and he's gotten a bunch. So now that he's gotten the reps, he's really starting to embrace everything, and he's picked it up. So the game slowed down for him quite a bit. He's always, from those of you that have heard from me before, he's got as much feel and savvy as a backer as any of them. So now he's taking that and adding his knowledge, so that he can really utilize and just play fast and not have to overprocess and think. So that's kind of where his progression has been, is having great feel as a backer to now really knowing and understanding, and it's putting him in a good position to be able to help us. All these guys too. I'm not one that's going to say we can't use these guys on special teams because they're a starter or whatever. I would expect that all the starters, quote unquote starters, or guys that are playing significantly, should be able to be on at least one special team as well, which, linebacker skill set, you should be able to have enough guys. We're creating some depth that's given us, hopefully we can take some steps forward on special teams as well.
Yeah, and how do you feel like that has evolved since you guys first got here, where now you've got, like you mentioned, a lot of linebackers where you can use them on different special teams in addition to on defense?
Yeah, well, we definitely want to improve our personnel and get better players. The kid that just walked in the door has done that with Logan Brantley. We'll take as many of those as we can get. So if any of you guys know of any 6'2", 210 to 15-pound linebackers, maybe in the area that are interested in Kansas, we'd love to have them. We'll take all those guys we can get. So I think there's 1 or 2 that I'd be interested in that they can come our way. We'll take all those guys we can get because they're going to help us. Logan is helping us significantly and will help us moving forward.
Yeah, obviously Logan being a June enrollee, is he better than you expected? Like, what do you expect when a guy comes in June, and just what have you kind of seen from him so far?
He's athletic and he can run. And here's the thing about Logan. We're talking about it as a staff. I mean, I was a heavy part of recruiting him out of Denver, so I was able to go watch him play and those types of things, so I saw it for myself. But now, you know, our staff, obviously they've watched the film on him, but our players, quite honestly, are like, Coach, that dude's running now. You know what I mean? So that's what I think he brings to the table for us is some athletic ability. Now, he's swimming because it's, again, go, 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 go. It's camp time, right? So all we do is keep adding more. But in the meeting room, if you ask him a question, he's probably going to get pretty close to having the answer. Now he's just got to process it on the field as it's happening. And again, we're going to force feed him and have him drink through a fire hose for a little bit before it starts to slow down for him. But he's doing a phenomenal job. He's going to be a really good player for us for sure.
Rich Miller back at Big 12 Media Days was talking about JB hitting basically harder than anyone, even harder than he can. I guess, have you seen that, and would you agree that he's the hardest hitting linebacker that you guys got?
Yeah, he's a physical dude. Helps when you're a big, strong guy that can run. If you look at, you know, some of our summer workout stuff that Coach Sleeve delivers to us, his accelerations and his top end speeds and those types of things are as good as a lot of guys on our team. Certainly in the linebacker room. So when you take that size and strength and you pair that with his ability to run, there's going to be a collision. Okay, so yeah, he's a very physical dude, physical tackler, and again, he's easy to coach because he wants to know. Very coachable, and all the guys in the room really are. It's a pleasure to coach this group. You know, because they are very coachable. They want to be great, and JB's one of those. But I would agree with Rich that JB ain't scared. We'll put it that way.
Chris, what have you seen from Rach and Fletcher in camp?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
With Rach and Fletcher?
Oh, Alex, right? I would say Alex is actually a pleasant surprise this fall. I would put him in the same group as a guy that it was around last fall, and the game's starting to slow down for him. So he has some good length, which helps him, and now he's able to just burst and accelerate and go make some plays. So we're getting him some added reps as well. You know, now the thing with Alex is just positionally, he's in there with a Craig Young and a Jason Gilliam and some of these guys. But I think he's competing with them, if that makes sense. So he's certainly in that group of guys, and I would include him with the special teams characteristics that we want to have running around as well. But Alex is doing a great job. Tristan, same thing. He's coming along, right? He'll make some mistakes on occasion that he's got to clean up, and he knows that. He will say himself, you know, in the room, yeah, I got to just stop overthinking it because I think he does know it. He's a smart kid. But it's got to show up on the field, and that's where a lot of these guys are starting to take another step, is the understanding. We've done everything we can to create more depth, whether it be through the portal with JB or in recruiting with Logan and whatnot. Now that depth has to take another step to perform on the field. We need some competitive greatness, you know, coming up with your best performance when you need it the most. So. As a group, they're all working on that for sure.
You've got increased numbers that are going. At some point in the next week here, do you have a good idea who your 2 deep is, or are you still trying to formulate that?
I probably have an idea. You know, I certainly have an idea what that probably looks like. Just the nature of how I've at least done it in the past is there's going to be a core group. You know, I'm not I say starter, but I'm more concerned about just reps that are taken. There's been times in my past as a coach, you know, at Buffalo, I remember being a year or two where that fourth guy in actually had more snaps than the quote unquote starters, because maybe he was a utility guy that I could bounce around and get guys off the field. So I would say that it's going to be by committee a little bit, you know, and I'm talking about every position. between the field outside guy. Rich doesn't have to be on the field all the time because I think Taiwan and Cornell can sub him. We got JB and Taiwan and Cornell can play to the boundary. Got Fletch. We have some options at this point that I think we're able to use. Yes, I have an idea, but it's going to be a little bit by committee in terms of the guys on the field, I think.
I wanted to ask you about Rich real quick. When you guys got here, you obviously have known him a long time, and when you guys got here, there was no guarantee how quick this thing was going to go. You didn't know the locker room was coming, things like that. When you see good things like that happen for a kid like that who just loves this game, and he talked a lot about that in Dallas too. I just love this. It means everything to me because I love it so much. What's it like from your perspective, having known him as long as you have, to see those things happen for a kid like that?
I think Rich is an example of trust in the process. Rich was a typical freshman, quite honestly, when he came to us at Buffalo, and that he walked in thinking he was going to set the world on fire and he was going to be at least a second team all-conference guy as a freshman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But understanding that there's a lot to it. And there were probably times when he would have frustration, whether he voiced it or not. I think it was there. And I know that because that's all freshmen, right? But I think as time went on, I just say, you just got to trust me, because he was a guy that I was bouncing around all over the place. Even young, he was doing that. And because of that, he was able to learn more and more and more, which the result is what you see now, where he can really get in there and run the show. Again, Taiwan's an example. Taiwan, you're going to play to the boundary. Just learn that. Okay, you know that now, right? All right, now let's slide you in, and you take what you know there and just expand it a little bit more, and now you're running the show. So it's trust in the process, and Rich is prime example number one of that, I would say, for sure. So he's a natural leader. So it's not all just what we do with him. That's, his parents have a lot to do with that, and his high school coaches and whatnot.
Anything else, Coach? All right, thanks everyone.